Hello world, Randy Savage 50 here, back with another video. This one will be, how in the world do you clean your gun? So this will be my take on how I specifically clean my weapons. I'm gonna focus mainly on the handgun as well as the AR-15, due to those being the primary weapons that individuals usually have. I will speak on the AK-47 a little bit, but I may not take it all the way down and clean it, but I will kind of speak about it. It's the same functions for it all. It's just what do you want to clean it and how do you want to clean it? And again, this is how I clean it. There are tons of different methods. There are different ways that different people like to clean their weapons. There are different types of cleaning items individuals use, but this is what I do and this is how I like to do it. So my wife ran into one of her friends and they asked the question to her, hey, does he have a YouTube video where he tells people how they can clean their weapon? And she told me about it. I said, good point. Let me make one to help the masses out if they need it. So if you hear some movement in the background, it is my wife. This is her car. She's cleaning her car out. So she'll probably come and peek in the camera soon. But that's the wife. She's looking at me right now. So let me get to the point of how do you clean your weapon? The first most important goal in this task is make sure your weapon is safe. So how do we do that? Drop your magazine, rack your slide back and lock it. Make sure there's no round in the chamber, visually and physically inspect it. We're good as gold. We're good to break down this weapon to start our cleaning. You also want to consider, okay, do I want to clean my weapon every week? Do I want to clean it after every time I shoot it? Do I want to wait till every 5 or 10 times I shoot it to clean it? Those are questions you want to ask yourself. I know some guys who run their weapons dirty and they love it. I don't know why, but certain weapons that are maybe of this Glock 19 variety can run dirty. I've run this dirty. I've run this Colt AR-15 dirty and it's fine. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't trust running a dirty weapon all the time because I don't know what other weapons, if it's cheaper, more expensive, I don't know if it'll hold up. I don't know if it's gonna start jamming when it's dirty. I don't know. So why not keep it clean just in case so we can eliminate any kind of issues that we may have. You already have the issue of your adrenaline pumping, you're sweating, you're worried about malfunction. So why try to allow an extra one to be there by having a dirty gun and the possibility of it not functioning when you really need it to, when it's really crucial and you need to save your life, right? So take the magazine from the weapon, clear the chamber, or make sure the chamber is clean or clear, and we're good to go to start our breakdown of our weapon. So weapons are different in terms of their breakdown. The Glock 19, well, the Glocks have a breakdown that's similar to other weapons, but it's different than other ones, if that makes sense. Like this one is different, has a different breakdown as the M&P series, has a different breakdown than maybe an H&K or something like that. But for a Glock, it's still clear. What we're gonna do is pull the slide back with our hands, just slightly like this. I know the sunlight in the background, sorry. Pull it back slightly and you'll see this takedown notch right here. And the same one is on this side right there, right? So we're gonna depress it with both of our fingers. So on both sides, you depress it, release that slide, pull that trigger and the slide pulls forward, separate that slide from the frame of the weapon. Now we got it in 2 parts. All right, so now I'm gonna lower the camera so I can show the important things here, not my face. So now we have our handgun in 2 parts. But are we in a good enough spot to clean it yet? Not yet. So what we're gonna do is remove the spring from the slide, remove the barrel from the slide, and drop the barrel here. I'm gonna drop the slide here, and then we have the frame and all of the parts sitting here. So we have our gun taken apart. Let me move this. We have it taken apart now and ready to clean it. So the function or the reason in the cleaning is to obviously have a pretty gun, but to rid itself of the carbon that builds up when you fire a shot. When you fire a shot, obviously, boom, the bullet comes out of the barrel. You fire the shot, shell pops out, and you've got a lot of carbon that comes inside. I don't know what happened to my train of thought right there. Sorry. You have a lot of carbon that is a result of those shots that you fire. So the carbon's going to build up inside your barrel. And what it's going to be is that, let me try to see if I got it. I cleaned it pretty good last time. Let me see. Let me try to wipe it. Oh, yeah. See, my gun's a little dirty. You see my fingers black? That's a little bit of that carbon buildup that you'll develop when you start shooting. And it'll be really bad. Like, you'll be able to do this to your fingertip, and you have a nice circle of blackness on your fingertip. You'll be able to put your hand down the mag well, and your finger will be black. Mine's not really black because I've cleaned it. Or you'll be able to rub specifically right here where the firing pin is located. And see, I have some blackness right there too. That's all carbon from shooting. So the goal is to remove all of that as well as lube all of the major parts of your weapon so it can function fine the next time you shoot it. And you can have it in your safe and have it sitting there to be nice and clean and rust-free when you are trying to use it the next time. So let's start this cleaning process. What I always do is I have a nice little rag. This one's a little dirty, but I'm just using it for this demonstration. Or maybe I use it to clean as well. But what I do is go ahead and wipe the stuff down, wipe the carbon off of all these parts. You'll see it all on these rails as well. But since I've cleaned it recently, you don't see it. But I'll wipe all this down as well as up in the mag well. I'll wipe that. And I forgot my brush. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. Sorry, I forgot my brush. So I bought my brush. It is a worn down brush. Now, a lot of this stuff you can get from Walmart. You can get this rim oil from Walmart. This, I got at gun, so you can't get that from Walmart. I believe I got this grease from Walmart. And I know for a fact that this bore cleaner is from Walmart. This snake for the barrel or AR-15s from Walmart. This rod and this cleany doohickeys from Walmart. And this Q-tips from Walmart, as well as this little brush from Walmart. So I've got this handheld brush that I use to scrape off all the carbon and gunk and dirt from my weapon. It's had its better days, but clearly you can see I use it and press it down a lot. So what I do is I wipe it down with my rag and go ahead and scrape it down, or I scrape it down and wipe my rag, it doesn't matter. I go ahead and scrape it, try to loosen up any of that carbon that's left. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Even go down here in the mag well, because you'll see a whole bunch of carbon down in here, even where the mag release is. You'll see a lot of carbon build up down there. Go ahead and scrape in there pretty good. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Be mindful though, in certain weapons, you'll have sear release levers and things inside there. You want to be really gentle in there when you're cleaning down the mag well. You don't want to bend anything or break anything or have this hook on or something and cause any kind of issues. So be mindful when you're scrubbing with your brush inside this mag well area. But I'll scrub that, put the frame down. In my mind, I'm good with the scrub. I'll pick up the slide, do the same with the wipe down on the slide on all parts inside and out. And I'll begin my same scrubbing procedure on the slide. Make sure you get on these grooves in here where the rails are, because when you put the gun together, you'll see that there's carbon or kind of little specks and stuff from firing inside there. And it'll get worse as you shoot. So go ahead and make sure all this is scrubbed pretty well. This part where the barrel will go, that will have a lot of carbon in there as well. I don't have much of a dark circle around, but you want to scrape that as much as you can as well. Boom. So we'll be good with the inside of the slide. So also you'll see rear serrations or front serrations or both on your slide. You may want to go ahead and scrape those as well, because you'll see that a lot of the sweat and dirt from you rocking your slide, you'll see that it'll start being visible and there'll be a lot of brown streaks on it. You know, go ahead and just scrape both sides of that and get that gone. You can also scrape your sights and go ahead and get some of that gunk out of there. But be mindful, you have grease and oil and stuff now probably on or oil and carbon on this. So it may not be wise to scrape your night sights, because your night sights are now going to be dark with dirt and gook. So you may want to just use a rag or a clean rag, not one that's already been used, and wipe around your night sights. So you may want to use something like this patch and get one out and wipe around your sights so you won't smear any kind of carbon or dirt inside. Let's see if we can get a good view. You don't want to smear it in there where it's difficult to get it out, or on this. part where it's difficult to get out. So use that to wipe it down. So now that I've wiped it down and scrubbed it, what about actually scrubbing it with a barrel brush, right? So like I said, in the barrel, you have a lot of carbon buildup because that's where obviously the projectile is coming through and you're having all that gas blow back and you're having the carbon build up inside the barrel. You won't be able to see much from this angle, but how do we clean that? So what we have are these brushes. They are labeled for whatever caliber, 9, 40, 45, or what have you. Take it off this rod, or take this part off the rod and replace it with this part. And go ahead and scrape it a few times. This isn't one that fits, but go ahead and scrape it a few times and get this carbon free from it. So scrape it, scrape it, scrape it. You'll be able to look through it and see that it has broken free. I may also, after I've done that, take one of these white patches, put it on the end of the barrel, go ahead and shoot that through there to help clean up any carbon that's left from me scraping it. So after I do that a few times, it may get lighter and lighter and lighter, so you know that there's less carbon, less buildup, less dirt inside the barrel. Now I'll go ahead and put on this white fluffy brush or whatever, and you'll stick that in the barrel, and that will clean off any of the rest of the carbon that's in there. So it's always wise to put these items inside the barrel the way your bullet will go. So you push it this way, left and right, where it'll come out just like the bullet goes. Now, I've done it backwards. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't mess anything up. But when I was taught to clean weapons, that's the way I always said it, due to like the ridges in here. You don't want to cause any issues. I don't know. But I've always done it this way. I'll insert this inside this part of the barrel, have it come out where my round would shoot out. So have it that direction all the time. So now my barrel is clean to my liking. I appreciate it. But then when it's dirty, you'll be moving around your hands and you'll see dirt or the black carbon on your fingertips. Because what? Because we forgot to scrape and clean this part of the barrel. So I will get the brush. Go ahead. You have a lot of buildup right here where the round will be extracting out of the slide. So you have a lot of buildup right there. You're going to scrape that really good. Scrape, 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 scrape. Even around these parts, I'll scrape, 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 scrape. Give it a good wipe down, wipe down, wipe down, and I'm good. So now we have scraped all of the portions of the handgun. We've scraped, the frame. We've scraped the slide, the barrel. We went ahead and scraped the slide. What do I do next? At this point, I don't lube yet. I'll go ahead and whip out some of this bore cleaner. This is what I use. I'll go ahead and open this top. And I use it as such of like a cleaning mechanism. I dip my old rag in there and I begin to wipe down those parts that just clean. Now in my mind, it helps with actual cleaning, but it also helps with it kind of smells good too, but it helps with the, helping against rust. Let me read it for you. Let me kind of read it for you. Cleans bores in rifles, shotguns, pistols, and revolvers. Removes leading and metal foulings from gun bores. So this will help you clean it, but it'll also help with maintaining your weapon over time. Let's see, repeat, blah, 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 blah. It don't say anything about rust, but it does help with the cleaning. So clean, 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 clean. And a clean gun is a good gun in my mind. If I keep my gun clean and lubed and inside of an area that does not have a humidity problem, I should be fine to fight against rust, right? So I usually wipe this slide down completely with that. Bore cleaner, put it back in the frame here. Do the same thing with the barrel. All right. As well as the same thing with the parts that I wiped down right here. That I wiped and scrubbed right here. I'll probably do some more work on that one. All right, cool. So in my mind, this gun is clean. Cleaned enough that I think I'm comfortable with in terms of using it again. There are different types of items that you can use for clean. People use CLP. You can look that up. They use that and think that's really good. But I like to use rim oil. A lot of people talk bad about rim oil. They say it dries really quickly and you shouldn't use it. And I've seen it dry pretty quickly, yes. But my AR-15 was clean with that probably a month ago. And I keep it in my safe. There's a dehumidifying rod in there. But I look inside my chamber and I still see it glistening as it, due to say the oil is still there. It all hasn't evaporated, right? So it stays for me, at least in my examples that I said. So I've cleaned it. I think it looks good. I'm personally satisfied with it. If you're not satisfied with it, you can continue to clean. But now, yes, it's clean. But what about those metal on metal points from the slide rubbing up against these rails here? What about the points where you can see the finish of your weapon fading and you see this silver line? So that tells you that there has been metal against metal and it's been rubbing. So every point like that, you want to go ahead and put some oil on it, okay? So what I do is I go ahead and squirt some oil up there on top, go ahead and rub my finger around to these points so it'll be nice and oiled, even in these points. And I even though it may not be necessary, I'll put a drop on my barrel and rub my barrel. I like a shiny barrel. I don't know about you, but I like my barrel is shiny. There's that barrel that's nice and oiled up. These metal parts right here, these rails, see these silver, bang, bang, even bang, 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 and bang. Those need to be oiled as well, because that is where your slide is gonna go up and down. Every shot is going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Just like anything where there's metal on metal contact, if it's in a car, in a house, you want to have it oiled up so it can go and move freely, correct? So what I'll do is drop a drop there, 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 there. Also here, either leave it or just dab it a little bit. That's not like Bob Ross. Just dab it. Got some happy friends here. So it all can be spread upon there nicely. Now this is nice and lubed. Now you don't need it dripping with lube. You shouldn't have to be able to tip it like this and it just drips with lube. You shouldn't have to do that. There's no need to do that. That's just overkill. And also inside the slide, you can see a little bit of fading right here where this barrel has been going back and, not back and forth, but the slide's been going back and forth up on the top of the barrel. So I also put some of that lube right there and on this part right here, because you see a little bit of that black fade and some silver there as well. Now, some of my weapons, it's more pronounced. Like you can clearly see that the finish is fading and it probably needs to be lubed, but I just happened to choose this gun because it was the one that's closest to me. So boom. Now we're lubed up in the barrel, the frame, as well as the slide. Let's wipe down this spring because sometimes the spring gets a little bit dirty. We can wipe down the spring. Now the spring is clean. So now we're good to go. In my mind, we're good to go at this point. So I'll go ahead and reassemble the weapon. Go ahead and insert the barrel into the slide. Insert the spring into the barrel that's inside the slide. Make sure it's lined up correctly. Go ahead and line up the rails. Still unloaded. There we go. And it's good to go. And as you see, like I said, I like a shiny barrel. You see it's kind of greasy because that lube that I have on there, it's kind of greasy in there, and it's pretty clean to my liking. I can't really smell too much carbon, but my buddy who cleans his guns, he's a Marine, and he cleans. He always knocks me for my cleaning. So, I can still smell carbon. You're nowhere near done. And his guns are the most shiny guns in the world, but it's okay. This is how I like it. Now, what I do now is, me personally, I wipe it down like so. And I was at a gun show a couple of years ago, and I found this XF7. It's a lubricant, 100% waterproof, non-toxic, O-ring friendly, extraordinary lubricant. Superior corrosion inhibition. So it's supposed to superior corrosion. So it's supposed to help against like rust and stuff. So I believe in it. What I go ahead and do is just spray that down like that. Now this Glock is in good shape, and I just put it forward, just leave it, let it sit there and dry. Don't wipe it down, just let that dry. So I have this grease here. Many say that they clean their AK-47s, bam, with grease and not oil due to the oil drying up faster and the grease lasting longer or whatever. Now, I will say, when I bought this AK-47, it was the most greasiest thing I've ever seen. And it was grease caked on top of grease. So from the factory, that's how they did it. So I don't cake on the grease, but when I do clean this weapon, I use the grease instead of this oil. I do the same thing that I did with the handgun, with the wiping down, using this bore cleaner, I have a snake. I'll talk about this later with AR. I have this snake that I use to run through the barrel, all of that. So I do the same thing, but instead of using the oil for my lube, I use the grease on my AK-47. So let's move to the AR-15. I do a quick overview of that one. I do a quick breakdown of the weapon, and we'll talk about it. Number one rule, the first rule is what? Make sure the weapon is unloaded. Let's go ahead and drop this magazine. Raise this camera up a little bit. All right, I've dropped the magazine, pulled the slide back. The weapon is clean, clear. There's nothing in there. I'm satisfied with that. Go ahead and drop that slide. Take away these two pins. I'll open these two pins up. Separate the upper from the lower. Here's the lower of my rifle. Here's the upper. So the most important part to clean in this is similar to the handgun. This bolt carrier group is the number one thing that you're going to want to make sure is cleaned pretty well. So you want to get all the carbon out. Basically the same function, just with a different type of weapon. This is going to have a lot of carbon on it after you're done shooting. Let's see my thumb. I have a little bit, so I have a little bit dirty. Inside here of the upper, that's going to be a lot of dirt as well, because you'll see the gas tube part of it that ends, that silver piece right there. Oh man, it's going to be filthy. And all this area will be filthy, as well as where the bolt catches in there. So how do I clean in there? What I do is I'll usually dip a Q-tip in this bore cleaner and wipe around in there. They actually make tools for it that you can use it and go down the barrel as well as clean this area, but I don't have that. So what I do is just use a Q-tip to clean in there as best as I can, use my rag as best as I can. I'll also may possibly use my little scraper to go ahead and clean this upper a little bit as best I can. So when I'm comfortable with the way I've cleaned it, I'll leave it just like that. And I may or may not put a little bit of oil in there. It doesn't really matter to put it in there, but me personally, I just like it in there. I know it sounds weird. And I'll also wipe down the exterior just to get rid of any carbon, any kind of dust or dirt from me shooting that day. And I'm sitting there being excited of how great I did with my shooting. I'm just oohing and awing over my weapon. So let's look at the bolt carrier group itself. Here she is. Ooh, you'll see a lot of dirt in this specific area right here. A lot of carbon buildup. And mine is like this and is liquefied because I keep lubing it. Like I'll randomly take it out of my safe and lube it. So what I do is wipe it down, wipe it down, wipe it down. Get this smaller end of this brush and I'll scrub around these sections right here in the bolt. And that'll free up that carbon. Also, do not neglect this inside because a lot of carbon and dirt can build up in there. And you want that clean so that firing pin can have a nice little hole to shoot out of or bounce out of, right? And I'll go ahead and wipe that thing down. Bang, bang, bang. Use the Q-tip on each side as well. Make sure she's clean. This part will be dirty as well, so go ahead and clean that up really well. I'm not gonna take the bolt out of the group, the carrier group, because it's not tough, but I just won't do it due to time. But you'll take this pin out, remove this section. No, take this pin out. Take the, can you see the firing pin? The firing pin will drop out. Then you'll turn this item here sideways, remove that, and take the bolt out. Now, how often do I clean this section removed from the carrier group? Maybe once every 5 times I shoot, depending on how much I shoot. This will get caked up in there with carbon. So it's easy to clean, you just wipe it down like I do. They make tools to make that part easier for you as well. But if I'm just shooting, if I just shot 100 rounds or so and I'm good with just cleaning at this point, this is what I'll do. I'll just take it out, wipe it down, scrape it down like I said. Go ahead and use this bore cleaner on the weapon. And just like a handgun, you'll see some points where metal has hit metal. You'll see the silver instead of the black on this part where it's been rubbing up against itself. Also, right along here, if you can see, you'll see the silver. So I will make sure I lube those points, as well as if you look at these holes, you can drop some lube right here. So the lube can go inside the hole and work up in that bolt as well. And I'll also drop a few drops around here so it can drop down into the bolt and continue to do its job and clean it. So I'll lube right there as well. I'll wipe down my charging handle. I'll put a little bit of lube on this as well. I'll wipe it down, drop a little bit of lube, and just run my finger to make it smooth because I like that thought. And this is an aftermarket one. You can see that the paint is just, golly, it's just gone away. You can see the metal up under it, so that's another reason to lube it. Let's see, let's go ahead and lube. So let's say we already did the wipe down. We've already done the bore cleaner. Let me go ahead and lube this so I can have it sit. Drop a couple drops there. Drop right here where I'll rub it with my finger. Or drop right up top so it can fall down in there in the bolt area. And I do that and make sure we're good and make sure everything's put together right. Because if you do that, when you take it all the way apart, if you had to put something together all the way, you'll see that firing pin, boom, it will drop on the table. So you know you don't have something to apply right. So I'll also stand it here to make sure all the O-rings or bushings or whatever they call it inside, you can tell when you have the bolt in your hand. Make sure those are good, because if not, you'll start seeing it slowly dropping. And then you know you need to take that apart and replace some parts inside your bolt. So that bolt carrier group is done. In my mind, I'll leave it just like that. So I have now cleaned the bolt carrier group. I've cleaned this area of the upper, but what about the barrel? Here is a snake. It's a 223 or 5.56 bore snake. And what you do with it is you see that it has some rough texturing around it right here, where it has the bristles from like a brush of copper, where you scrape it down there, scrape all the carbon out from the barrel. So you'll drop it just like the handgun. You drop it inside where the bullet will go and let it leave from where the bullet will leave from the weapon. It's pretty simple. So I'll drop it inside the barrel at this point. Come on, come on. All right, go ahead and pull that bore snake through, and that's cleaning out the barrel. There we go. You'll see it nice and clean and shiny. If you look through the barrel, you should see a lot of reflection and a lot of silver greatness. Now you know your barrel is clean. So now my barrel is clean. This part of the upper is clean. My bolt carrier group is clean. What about the lower? What I do with the lower, because it doesn't really have that much carbon build up, is I'll just wipe it down, wipe down the mag well area, wipe down the hammer, and I'm good to go. So you'll see right here, there's some fading as well from that hammer hitting that bolt carrier group and causing it to go kabooyah. That's the sound it makes. But I'll go ahead and throw some lube on that while I'm at it. So yeah, you'll see that's how it is. Yeah. Boom. Got the lube on that. Wipe around the exterior of it. And now I'm good to go in my mind, right? I'm good to go. I don't really spray this corrosion stuff on. I just do it with my handguns. But now my handgun's sitting there. It's dry. It's looking really clean because I had it sitting there this whole time while I'm cleaning this rifle. So now it's time to put it back together. Insert the charger handle into the upper, and you'll have a cutout so it drops down and locks when you put it in and push it a little further. So there you go, it won't fall right there. Now insert the bolt carrier group that you successfully put back together inside the charger handle. It kind of like sits in like a tray. Boom, drop it in. Now we're good with the upper. Now we'll put the upper back together with the lower. Just line it up. Insert both pins. We'll close both pins. And now our rifle is back and working clean order. Make sure it's unloaded. Safety off. Safety check. Pull that trigger again. We're good to go. So that's how I clean my handgun as well as my rifle, AR-15. Basically the same thing that you would do in cleaning a AK-47 or any type of the rifle. It's also similar in what you do in cleaning a shotgun, but it's just a little bit different, obviously, due to the makeup and how you want to clean it. Some people I know do not clean their shotguns at all, but it may be wise to do it. So that's my quick tutorial on cleaning your weapons, breaking it down, putting it back together, and now it's safe to go back in the safe, and where it has this dehumidifying rod where I don't have to worry about any rust, because that's wise as well, and I'm good with the lubing. I'm good to go. I hope you all enjoyed the video. My wife's friend who recommended it, I hope that you enjoyed it and took something from it. There are many other videos about cleaning and tutorials about how to do it. You can look at all these videos and piece together your favorite points and favorite parts and see which one you want to use or see what you want to use out of all of them and come up with the best bet for you and make it fun, make it safe. You and your spouse, you and your friends can, clean together. This is a nice speaking point. You can teach different things to your significant other about weapons. It's just a good time. So Rainy Savage 50 checking out. Hope y'all enjoy.